The election of the ruling Justice and Development Party, AK Party, candidate, İsmet Yılmaz, as parliament speaker has once again put Turkey's nationalist party in line as a potential coalition partner with the AK Party, while an AK Party coalition with the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, continues to remain an option. The interim Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoğlu confirmed as much when he said after the speaker's election on Tuesday that the AK Party remains at an equal distance to both the traditional parties of opposition ahead of the official start of the coalition talks. President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan is expected to give Davutoğlu a mandate to form a government early next week following completion of the election of all the members of the Speaker's Council in Parliament. After receiving a mandate as head of the party with most deputies in Parliament, Davutoğlu is expected to search for a coalition partner by knocking on the doors of all three opposition parties represented in Parliament. In the week that preceded the Speaker's vote, indications for a coalition between the AK Party and the main opposition CHP seemed to be the more likely option. Upon the failure by the opposition parties to agree on a joint candidate, the Nationalist Movement Party, MHP, cast invalid votes in Wednesday's final vote, paving the way for Yılmaz to get elected. Many feel this move not only secured the AK Party candidate an easy win, but also placed the right-wing MHP right back into contention as a potential coalition partner with the ruling party. At an iftar, fast-breaking dinner, on Wednesday, Davutoğlu called on the MHP to be open to all possibilities during the coalition negotiations. The CHP leader reportedly reiterated after the speaker's election that his party would not agree to forge a coalition with the AK Party unless the 14 principles he previously announced were accepted. If our principles are not accepted, the possibility of a coalition in which the CHP would be a partner is low, Kılıçdaroğlu was quoted as saying. The MHP's move, which resulted in an easy win for the AK Party candidate, could have repercussions in the formation process of a coalition government. Levent Gök, the CHP parliamentary group deputy speaker, has told today's Zaman. In the June 7 general election, no single party got enough votes to form a government. A total of 276 seats, which represent an absolute majority in the 550-seat parliament, are required to form a government. The election meant the party representation in parliament came down to this: the AK Party has 258 deputies, the CHP has 132 deputies, the MHP and the Pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, each have 80 deputies. We will see how coalition negotiations will be affected by what happened in the election of parliament speaker when official talks begin, Gök added. Shortly after the election of the AK Party candidate, CHP spokesperson Haluk Koc told reporters in Parliament, in a reproachful way towards the MHP, that the election result revealed which parties would join which parties, implying that an AK Party MHP coalition is probable. Koc, who is also the CHP deputy chairman, told reporters on Thursday that the CHP doesn't expect Parliament's newly elected speaker to remain under the tutelage of President Erdoğan as the previous incumbent was in the case of the previous term of government. According to Masum Türker, leader of the Democratic Left Party, DSP, if the CHP candidate had been elected as speaker it would have increased the prospect of an AK Party CHP coalition. But now, prospects for an AKP-AK Party MHP coalition is as strong as the possibility of an AKP-CHP coalition, Türker told today's Zaman. Following the election of the parliament speaker, leaders of the CHP and the HDP both likened the MHP deputies' collective decision to invalidate their ballot papers to passing a crutch to the AK Party by indirectly helping its candidate into the post. Arguing that MHP's attitude was not unexpected, the CHP leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu accused the MHP of assisting the AK Party by telling the Hürriyet Daily on Thursday, whenever the AKP is in a corner, it is evident who acts as a walking stick to it. But Kılıçdaroğlu did not seem to be of the opinion that the result of the vote suggested a likely AK Party MHP coalition. I can't tell if the result is a harbinger of an AKP MHP coalition, he reportedly said. In the first day of voting on Wednesday, when the ruling party candidate İsmet Yılmaz was supported only by deputies of his party, many believed that the opposition parties would jointly vote the following day for Deniz Baykal, the main opposition party's candidate, to secure victory against the ruling party. In the fourth and final round of voting, Yılmaz was elected as parliament speaker with 258 votes, while his closest rival, CHP's candidate Baykal, got 182 votes thanks to the support of most HDP deputies. In the final round in the election of a parliament speaker, a simple majority is enough to get elected. In contrast, Yusuf Halalu, MHP's parliamentary group deputy chairman, has dismissed any link between the election of Yılmaz as speaker and the coalition negotiations. Maintaining that the AK party will try to forge a coalition with the CHP rather than the MHP, as the CHP recently relaxed some of its major preconditions to be part of a coalition with the AK party, Halalu told today's Zaman, the election of the speaker has increased the chances of an AKP-CHP coalition. According to Halalu, the AK party knows that it cannot forge a coalition with the MHP, as the MHP has some preconditions for a coalition that the AK party cannot possibly accept. In a speech in his party's parliamentary group meeting before Parliament began voting to elect the speaker, MHP leader Devlet Bahçeli did not rule out the option of his party becoming a coalition partner, but laid out three preconditions for which, he stressed, the MHP demands the full respect of a potential coalition partner. The preconditions laid out by Bahçeli are, the definitive suspension of the settlement process, the relaunch of the corruption investigation about suspects implicated in a probe that went public on December 17 and 25, 2013, and the restriction of President Erdoğan's use of power to within constitutional limits. The chances of a coalition government being forged between the AK party and the MHP may be slim, as Halalu indicated, because the MHP leader also made clear that his party would not see it as sufficient if only the 4 former cabinet ministers who resigned following the graft probe be brought before law. The MHP leader's remark implied that his party would demand that President Erdoğan, who was prime minister when the graft probes went public, and his son, Bilal, also be called to account as part of the corruption investigation. Audio clips released over the internet following the probes revealed that Erdoğan and his son were involved in the corruption. One of the prosecutors who conducted the probes also recently said that findings in the investigation point to Erdoğan as a prime suspect in the corruption case. Bahçeli underlined that only if a consensus is reached over the MHP's preconditions and the MHP feels that a potential partner is sincere in its attitude would the MHP agree to a coalition. The party describes the settlement process, launched by the government in 2012 to resolve the country's Kurdish issue and terrorism problem, as a treason process, arguing that the process will lead to the disintegration of the country. The CHP drew closer to a coalition with the AK party last week after losing all hope that a coalition of opposition parties would be possible due to the MHP's staunch opposition to the pro-Kurdish HDP, which also pushes for the progress of the now stalled settlement process. In an interview with the Cumhuriyet Daily on Friday, CHP leader Kılıçdaroğlu hinted that the CHP would not let the party's recently announced principles be a major hurdle for a coalition with the AK party, saying that the CHP would not be revanchist and would not bring issues such as claims of corruption as a precondition in coalition talks. In return, Davutoğlu described the CHP leader's remark as positive. Previously, the CHP had set preconditions for forging a coalition, such as bringing the suspects of the 2 graft investigations to trial and bringing to trial officials who were involved in the alleged illegal transfers of arms to Syria in trucks belonging to the National Intelligence Organization, MT. MHP's Halalu also argued that the other opposition parties could have also voted for the MHP candidate for speaker if they really wished to prevent the AK party candidate from getting elected.